Recently, I've been having some transformative realizations that have really helped me understand how I could change my state of being from feeling stuck to feeling free and in flow. A few weeks ago, I recognized that I had fallen into a habit that I developed in my teen years of staying up super late, binge-watching TV series, which before now I'd been quite unconscious to. It dawned on me one night how compulsive this behavior was. And I recognized in self-questioning that it stemmed from my being in a state of apathy and mindset of feeling stuck, unable to move, and help myself digest life as a teenager. I dove into TV series and spent time texting friends instead. In recognizing that I was doing the same thing now, all these years later, when I have the ability to create change, I decided to peel back the layers of this habit. In understanding where it came from, I felt inspired to learn about it and any other such behaviors, to empower myself to move beyond them. Through all of this recognition, I decided it was finally time to pick up the book, The Body Keeps the Score, to help myself understand some of my trauma-related habits and experiences, which is another story, but a few things have really interested and low-key fascinated me. A condition called inescapable shock, on page 30, which goes into discussing how the mere opportunity to escape does not make traumatized animals or people take the road to freedom. Van der Kolk also goes on to explain effective action versus immobilization, which he shares has a massive impact on the chemical responses of the body on our ability to return to normal and process future events. If you feel safe and loved, your brain becomes specialized in exploration, play, and cooperation. If you are frightened and unwanted, it specializes in managing feelings of fear and abandonment. The Body Keeps the Score, page 56. With this new awareness in mind, and my original motive for picking up the book being to understand my behaviors so that I could learn how to best overcome, heal, and relearn, I decided to do something that feels scary, but that is actually relatively safe. Reading this book even encourages me to do so through its expression of working with the brain and utilizing its neuroplasticity to, in quote, help survivors of trauma feel fully alive in the present and move on with their lives, end quote. Going back to the dogs and how the only way was, as reported, to get them off of the electric grids was to drag them out of their cages so that they could physically experience how they could get away. This book has so far helped me to understand much about myself. The years of feeling stuck within, not knowing which direction to take or how to take action on my dreams, and feeling that I couldn't have them, even if I somehow could get into a space that nurtured my creativity, are finally beginning to make sense. Some people can just demolish their walls, but I have to understand how they work and chip away at their fundamental structures so that the entire thing can eventually give way. Just as I began to feel like I was losing my sense of self and identity in my teenage years, it seems that whenever I'm not expressing the energy that wants to be expressed within, that over time that energy hardens and I feel stuck and unknown to myself. Brené Brown says, in quote, creativity has to be cultivated. Unused creativity is not benign. It metastasizes. It turns into grief, rage, judgment, sorrow, shame. We are by nature creative. It gets lost along the way. End quote. I also saw another quote by an author who I'm not aware of while I was scrolling through Instagram one day, and it read, quote, there are people reading this who survive not just childhood, but large chunks of their lives by focusing almost exclusively on other people's wants and needs, and who now are virtual strangers to their own wants and needs. It's time to get to know yourself." End quote. For a long time, there's been a yearning for a knowing of myself and a freedom that, regardless of how many countries I travel to, doesn't let up. I've tried to wreck, scale, and go around the wall that feels like it blocks the way to freedom. I've searched for self and freedom in every place that I thought I may find it, without going through my fears. And what I've begun to realize is that you don't get the feeling of freedom or the knowing of self until you've taken the courage to move through whatever made you feel stuck to begin with, and then do it again and again and again. See, freedom is a choice, and we must consistently choose as we're constantly evolving. The same goes for the knowing of self. We all have our reasons for not allowing energy or ideas to flow through us, the base of which Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Big Magic, says all comes down to fear. The question is whether I, you, we are ready to allow that to continue to be stuck within us, turning us bitter from the inside out for the rest of our lives. I have no exact idea where this path will lead me, but I do want to choose to live a courageous and free life, a fulfilling life, a life worth living, whatever that looks like to me. I want to follow my curiosities, see where they lead me, whether this is about feeling more fulfilled within or helping me to understand my direction in life. I'm willing. And in addition to all of this, and some of what sparked it, which I'm grateful it did, is that I'm currently in a relationship where I'm away from my partner for big chunks of time between trips. The feeling of being out of control of travel decisions at the moment really triggered the old feelings, which sparked the mindset, emotions, and behaviors that came with it. I'm grateful that this has happened, and it's given me an opportunity to better learn and heal myself. I'm also grateful that it is twofold, in that the antidote to my feeling of being stuck, trapped, and out of control are also things that help me spend time with myself and be in relationship with myself. I must admit, sharing all of this is quite a lot for me to do. You know, I really tend to become self-judgmental of sounding like I'm indulging in sad girl chronicles, and I'm pushing past the judgment to still share because it helps me to understand myself. And I'm also doing this for my younger self, a younger me that needed to know I wasn't alone and that life and I would be okay. And I'm also doing it because I can imagine that there are people watching, listening, who may need the same, whether they are younger than me or whether their younger self needed to hear this, whether your younger self needed to hear this, and maybe that's why you're here right now. But somewhere along the way, I realized that getting to know myself can't happen in a vacuum, that I won't find the answers in my mind. That may be the way for some people, but as a person who spent much of their life being and feeling disconnected from my body, from the joys that come with being in a body, and from my creative essence, that the way forward for me, and maybe for you, in a semblance to finding clarity about what I want to pursue, what my creativity looks like and feels like, and what I feel like to myself, the me right now needs to take one step at a time on the continued road of becoming through sharing and through creativity. And this is part of my journey. So this video, this channel, this is all part of me learning how to be, through expression, and also what I feel like is being of service. Being of service to those who may need a friend on this path. Being of service to my younger self. Being of service to our younger selves. And in this, I extend an invitation to you to join me, to spend time with yourself, exploring your ideas and interests. Whether you choose to do so to heal, to find out what your passions are in life, or just to spend quality time with yourself. And if you didn't feel like you could, then this is a sign for you. I really appreciate you tuning in to find out what this journey is all about, to listen to a part of my story. And I really hope that you'll be with me on other elements of this journey. If you want to connect in other ways and stay in touch, then feel free to follow me on Instagram at chem.contemporarywild. And if you found this share helpful in any way, please drop a message in the comments below and let me know what you're exploring within yourself as well. Thanks for coming through. Much love.